Human Explorer. Jake landed on the alien planet of Xanthia with a sense of wonder. The Xanthians were a fascinating species with shimmering blue skin and delicate features. Jake had heard about their unique customs, but nothing prepared him for what he was about to experience. Jake was invited to a grand gathering where the Xanthians shared their traditions. He sat among them, curious and excited. The Xanthians spoke about their special mating ritual. They explained that after mating, they would enter a long hibernation to save energy and ensure their survival. It was a custom they had followed for centuries. As they spoke, Jake couldn't help but share a little about human habits. "On Earth, we don't need to hibernate after mating," he said casually. "We stay active and energetic all the time." The reaction was immediate and dramatic. Zira, the Xanthian leader, froze in shock. Her eyes widened, and she looked at Jake as if he had just revealed the secret of the universe. The other Xanthians murmured among themselves, clearly astonished by Jake's statement. Zira approached Jake with a mix of curiosity and disbelief. "You mean to say that humans don't hibernate at all?" she asked, her voice tinged with amazement. Jake nodded, smiling. "That's right. Humans stay active and have high stamina." The Xanthians were baffled. They had always believed that hibernation was essential for energy conservation and survival. The idea that a species could remain active without it seemed almost impossible to them. They began asking Jake countless questions, eager to understand how humans manage their energy and stamina. Jake explained that human bodies were designed differently. He talked about the ways humans used food, rest, and exercise to maintain their energy levels. The Xanthians listened intently, their fascination growing with every word. They had never encountered anything like this before, and Jake's information was both surprising and intriguing. As the evening continued, Jake could see that he had sparked a deep interest among the Xanthians. They were eager to learn more about human endurance and how it compared to their own methods. Jake realized that this was just the beginning of an incredible exchange of knowledge. Little did he know that his simple statement would lead to a series of events that would challenge both species' understanding of stamina and energy. After the surprising discovery, Jake was invited to stay with the Xanthians to learn more about their culture and customs. Zira, the leader, was particularly eager to understand how humans could stay active without hibernating. Jake agreed, curious to see more of their way of life. The Xanthians led Jake to a beautiful bioluminescent grove where they performed their mating rituals. They explained that after mating, they would enter a deep sleep to conserve energy. Zira and her people were very proud of this tradition, which they believed was crucial for their survival. As Jake observed the rituals, he couldn't help but notice how different their customs were from human practices. The Xanthians used this time to recharge their energy and ensure that they remained healthy. It was a well-organized process that had been perfected over centuries. Jake decided to explain how humans manage without hibernation. "On Earth, we stay active all the time. We eat, exercise, and rest to keep our energy levels up," he said. He tried to make it clear that humans didn't need extended periods of sleep to function well. Zira and her people were intrigued but skeptical. They couldn't imagine how a species could survive and thrive without hibernation. They asked Jake to demonstrate human endurance through various activities. "If you're so energetic, let's see how you handle our tests," Zira challenged him. Jake agreed, ready to prove that humans were indeed capable of remarkable stamina. The first test was a long run through the forest. The Xanthians watched as Jake sprinted with ease, covering the distance quickly. Next, they set up a series of physical tasks that tested strength and endurance. Jake performed well, showing his ability to handle strenuous activities. Despite Jake's impressive performance, the Xanthians remained unsure. They were used to their own methods and found it hard to believe that humans could sustain such energy levels without hibernation. The cultural gap was evident, and Jake realized that understanding each other's customs would take time. The day ended with Jake feeling a mix of satisfaction and frustration. He had shown the Xanthians what humans were capable of, but he knew there was still a lot to learn and understand. The cultural shock was mutual, and both sides had much to discover about each other's ways of life. After the cultural shock, Zira decided to test Jake's claim about human stamina with a series of ultimate challenges. She wanted to see if humans were truly as resilient as Jake had described. Jake, eager to prove himself, accepted the challenge with confidence. The first test was a demanding obstacle course set in the Xanthian wilderness. The course was designed to push participants to their limits with steep hills, narrow paths, and tricky traps. Jake was given a head start, and the Xanthians watched closely, curious to see how he would perform. Jake started strong. He climbed the steep hills with ease and maneuvered through the narrow paths swiftly. Despite the heat and exhaustion, he kept going without slowing down. The Xanthians were amazed as they saw Jake tackle each obstacle with skill and determination. Zira, in particular, was impressed, though she remained cautious. Next came the endurance test. Jake had to run a long distance at a steady pace, while the Xanthians monitored his energy levels. They were skeptical that he could maintain such a high level of activity for an extended period. Jake kept his pace steady, showing no signs of fatigue. Hours passed, and Jake continued to run, much to the astonishment of his alien spectators. The final challenge was a strength competition. Jake had to lift and carry heavy objects that were far beyond what a human would normally handle. Zira and her people watched with bated breath as Jake took on the task. With sheer determination, he lifted the weights and carried them across a set distance. The effort was clear, but Jake completed the task successfully. By the end of the challenges, the Xanthians were left in awe. Zira approached Jake with a new respect. "You've shown us that humans have incredible stamina and strength," she said. "We were wrong to doubt you." Jake smiled, relieved and proud. "Humans have different ways of managing energy, but we're capable of a lot more than you might think." The tests had proven Jake's point, but they also deepened the understanding between the Xanthians and humans. Zira and her people began to appreciate the differences in their species and were eager to learn more. The ultimate challenge had not only tested Jake's endurance, but also bridged the gap between two very different worlds. With the ultimate challenge behind them, Jake and Zira knew it was time to build a stronger connection between humans and Xanthians. Both sides had proven their strengths, but understanding and respect were still needed to bridge their cultural gap. Zira suggested organizing a festival to celebrate their unique abilities and learn from each other. Jake agreed enthusiastically, excited for the opportunity to show the Xanthians more about human culture. The festival would be a chance for both species to share their traditions and skills in a friendly environment. The day of the festival arrived, and the Xanthian Grove was transformed into a vibrant, colorful celebration. Stalls were set up showcasing Xanthian arts and crafts, and delicious foods from both cultures were prepared. Jake and Zira worked together to make sure everything was perfect. Jake introduced the Xanthians to human music and dance, which amazed the crowd. The Xanthians were fascinated by the lively and rhythmic performances. In return, the Xanthians demonstrated their own unique art forms. They performed graceful dances with glowing lights and shared their beautiful music that resonated with otherworldly sounds. Jake was captivated by their performances, and he admired their creativity and skill. The highlight of the festival was a friendly competition where humans and Xanthians teamed up for various games and challenges. They played sports, solved puzzles, and worked together on creative projects. These activities allowed both sides to see each other's strengths and teamwork. Jake and Zira's team won a few of the games, but more importantly, everyone enjoyed the experience and built friendships. As the festival came to a close, Jake and Zira gathered to reflect on the day's events. The Xanthians had gained a new appreciation for human stamina and abilities, while the humans had learned to respect Xanthian customs and skills. The festival had been a success in building trust and understanding between the two species. Zira thanked Jake for his efforts and friendship. "Today has shown us that we have much to learn from each other," she said. "We can build a future together with respect and cooperation." Jake nodded in agreement. "This festival has been a great start. I look forward to more exchanges and working together." The festival marked a new chapter in the relationship between humans and Xanthians. Both sides were eager to continue their partnership, knowing that they had made significant progress in understanding and respecting each other. The time had come for Jake to leave the planet Xanthia. His visit had been filled with new experiences and valuable exchanges, but now he had to say goodbye. The Xanthians, especially Zira, were gathered to bid him farewell. The mood was a mix of sadness and hope, as both sides had grown close over the past weeks. Zira and Jake stood together in the beautiful grove where they had celebrated their festival. The trees glowed softly, and the air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers. Zira held a small, glowing artifact that she handed to Jake. "This is a symbol of our friendship," she said. "It represents the trust and understanding we've built." Jake accepted the gift with a warm smile. "Thank you, Zira. It means a lot to me. This experience has been incredible, and I've learned so much about your people." The Xanthians gathered around, each one offering their own goodbyes and best wishes. They had come to admire Jake for his stamina, strength, and willingness to embrace their culture. Many of them expressed their hope that their paths would cross again in the future. As Jake prepared to board his spaceship, he looked back at the Xanthians with a sense of fulfillment. The journey had not only proved human endurance, but also forged strong bonds between two very different species. He had seen firsthand the Xanthian way of life and had shared his own with them. Zira approached Jake one last time. "We have learned much from you, Jake. Our people will remember your visit as a time of great learning and friendship." Jake nodded, feeling grateful. "And I will always remember the warmth and kindness of the Xanthians. This isn't goodbye. It's just the beginning of a new chapter in our relationship." With that, Jake entered his spaceship. As the ship lifted off, he looked out at the glowing planet below. The Xanthians waved, their faces full of hope and friendship. Jake felt a deep sense of satisfaction. He had come to Xanthia as a stranger, but he was leaving with new friends and a lasting connection. The spaceship soared into the stars, and Jake knew that this experience would be a stepping stone to even greater adventures. The bond between humans and Xanthians was strong, and he looked forward to the future, where their friendship would continue to grow and thrive.